Is anyone buying Jack in the Box stock? Now, I've been looking at Jack in the Box for the past 2 to 3 months now and just kind of keeping my eye on it. So I feel like now is an appropriate time for me to kind of make a video and talk more in depth about what Jack in the Box is, their management, and everything like that. So let's look at the stock itself. Let's look at what the price is and why that's the price. So right now I'm in Arb Terminal, and we could see over the past 5 years, Jack in the Box is down nearly 88%. Well, actually slightly more, 88.27%. So why is this? Why did Jack in the Box once trade at $109 a share and today it's trading at $12.84 a share? Well, there's a few reasons. One is macro, so inflation and things like that. But another thing is their debt. Jack in the Box has a pretty large amount of debt that they are working to fix. But those are two of the big ones I would say. And then kind of tying into the inflation is the decline in same store sales. So there hasn't been growth there. But a part of me believes that there could be a play here. This could be something to keep your eye on. So let's start with competition. Who is Jack in the Box's competition? Well, it's a fast food restaurant. So the big players are McDonald's, Wendy's, Taco Bell. Of course, there's other ones as well, Burger King and things like that. But for the sake of this video, let's talk about these ones for now. And these are also publicly traded, so it helps a little bit. McDonald's. Now, what is McDonald's edge over Jack in the Box? Well, I feel like their customer base is much more loyal and there's much more brand identity with a brand like McDonald's. There's people who love McDonald's. There's not really people who love Jack in the Box. So that's the one thing. Another thing is McDonald's really just doubled down on American cuisine, if you'd classify it as that, much better than any other fast food restaurant. So McDonald's is consistent with their burgers. They're consistent with the chicken nuggets. They're consistent with everything, yada, yada, yada. And McDonald's is just a fast food staple. When most people think fast food, McDonald's is basically at the top of mind. So we have McDonald's, we have Wendy's, and we have Taco Bell. So Wendy's is a bit more subjective. I don't think everyone can kind of agree that Wendy's is the worst fast food or the best. This is kind of a whole nother debate if we're talking about which one's better taste-wise. But Wendy's stock is actually beat down quite a bit as well, if we check it out. So yeah, we can see this huge drop off over the last 5 years, 70% down. I haven't looked much into Wendy's as to why that is. It's probably the same type of trends and narrative. Inflation plays a big role, probably declining same-store sales growth, declining revenue, kind of a mixture of all those things. Along with the whole GLP-1 craze definitely plays a role in these fast food stocks. Just makes people a lot more aware of just how unhealthy this food actually is. So the health trend obviously plays a role in that as well. But yeah, so we're seeing the same thing with Wendy's. But going back to this, so that's Wendy's, and then we have Taco Bell. So Taco Bell is also a late night competitor with Jack in the Box. That's another kind of moat that Jack in the Box has. It's late night niche. So Taco Bell is one of those that also competes with it. Taco Bell isn't open quite as late as Jack in the Box is, but it is one of those contenders. And then McDonald's, some locations are competing with it, but not all of them. So that's another thing. Taco Bell is owned by Yum Brands, I believe, which is a holdings company for restaurants. So there's not one stock for Taco Bell. But just comparing the two in general from surface level takes, I would say that Taco Bell is still a pretty different niche, but similar in a lot of ways. Jack in the Box kind of more so caters to that late night cravings and like munchies and kind of like stoner food. So there's not one type of cuisine that Jack in the Box specializes in. It's a variety of things like burgers, tacos, chicken nuggets, chicken sandwiches, milkshakes, matcha milkshakes, mozzarella sticks. So it's like just all this random type of stuff. But obviously Taco Bell is much more narrowed down to Mexican cuisine. So it's two different type of things. But yeah, so that's kind of the competition. Now let's talk more about the consensus. Like, what do people think about Jack in the Box right now? What is the price reflecting in the world? Why do people believe $12.84 a share is the right price to be paying for Jack in the Box? So one is some people believe there's a cheap turnaround potential here. They believe that Jack in the Box can restore itself stock wise to what it once was previously. So it's quite beaten down now, but it's not a falling knife. It's more of just a knife that's hit the ground. If that's a good analogy for what the stock chart looks like right now. But yeah, the stock's starting to find some sort of support and kind of bottoming. So right now I feel like the consensus is more so turning to, okay, can this be a turnaround, yes or no? If you're a bull for Jack in the Box, you believe that margins can recover, same-store sales growth can recover to what it once was consistently. They can improve the franchise model. You believe that it can gain social rapport amongst younger generations, which is another huge thing that Jack in the Box hasn't really done. But if you're a bear, you more so believe that it's going to continue to go down the same path. You think things aren't going to clear up. You think there's not much that can really change. And eventually that they are going to either file for bankruptcy or get acquired or merge or something like this. And it's a dying brand like we were kind of talking about. But the current narrative is basically, is it going to turn around or is it a value trap? So there's two sides to the story. It's just a matter of which story do you believe is the right one. Now, going over to social signal, if we head over to Arb Terminal, if we look at TikTok and check out some of the posts that are currently being posted about Jack in the Box, we can kind of check out what people are saying. We have this guy doing a review on Jack in the Box milkshake. There was a post here where someone was complaining about the price. $3.61 for a breakfast jack and $3.19 for a hash brown. It was $1 15 years ago. So you can see some people are still frustrated with the whole inflationary aspect of fast food. But this isn't something that's only with Jack in the Box, obviously. It caters to all restaurants and fast food. So inflation obviously affects everything. So I don't know if this would be something that you'd really want to take into account or how you would really perceive this. But it's more of a macro thing, right? So that's another kind of take. There's a number of other things too in this post feed. But as of right now, what Jack in the Box is trying to do is they're trying to launch their Jack on Track kind of campaign or plan. They announced this on February 5th. So this is basically the plan for the turnaround. I'm not going to read through this, but if you just search up Jack in the Box Investors website and you click on the news tab, you can scroll down and find this. They're basically just talking about how they're going to be closing down some stores and their plan to restore same-store sales growth to what it once was, improve margins, things like this. But this is them formally announcing it. So they announced this on February 5th. Right now it's April 5th. So we're about February, March, April, 2 months out from this announcement. And then another thing that has happened is they recently launched their Smash Jack Sliders meal, where basically you have a chance to win 75 grand. So with every meal, it comes with this cup, and in the cup there's a section right here at the bottom where there's a pin inside the cup. And if you get a gold pin, you win 1,000 to 75,000. So yeah. Or no, if you get the gold pin, you get $1,000 cash, but you're also entered into a $75,000 giveaway. So maybe this is their attempt to build rapport with the younger demo, or maybe just in general. It's kind of a low quality campaign in my opinion. It's nothing very engaging or interesting. If I was the CMO of Jack in the Box, I would triple down on UGC and social media rapport. content and just really dial in social media and content creation. One of the leading issues I feel like with Jack in the Box is the fact that no one really loves Jack in the Box. Like, if I could summarize everything I believe about Jack in the Box and why it is at the place it's at right now, it's because no one loves Jack in the Box. If you look at brands like McDonald's, people love McDonald's. If you look at Chick-fil-A or just these other TikTok brands, it's like, hold on, sorry, I got distracted. Just these other brands that are much more popular than Jack in the Box. McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, Taco Bell. People love Taco Bell. I don't know if there's anyone who loves Jack in the Box. And if they do love Jack in the Box, it's more about a price point rather than the quality of the food or just the brand itself. So Jack in the Box really should double down on the whole idea of making people love the brand and have a brand ecosystem that makes people resonate with it, and just be proud to eat Jack in the Box. Like, obviously it's not the healthiest food, but there's things you can do, I feel like, to really make that a reality. They do have earnings coming up. So last quarter they reported $1 EPS, and the estimate was $1.11. The upcoming earnings comes out May 13th, so about 8 days from now, and the estimate is 74 cents. And I think that they could beat earnings. I really do. I've kind of done some IRL due diligence, just asking store managers, and Jack in the Box is local to me, so I'd probably ask around like 5, just in casual conversation about like, has it been more busy this past month? What have you noticed over this past month? Anything different? Etc. Just things like this. So the data pool was pretty small. It was like 5 locations I went to, but it's still valuable because I think 80% of Jack in the Box locations are on the West Coast. So I think it's a sample pool that's still holds some weight. But I wouldn't be surprised if they managed to beat earnings just with everything that they've been doing over these past few months, from the whole campaign here, and then along with their turnaround plan. So guidance is in line to beat earnings, but it's really just a matter of if they do. What else? So, here's a TikTok kind of screenshot that I have showing the whole pin thing with the cup. IRL store growth research is kind of just what I was talking about, the stores that I went to and just asked a few questions. And then we have this guy right here. So this guy is a owner of a holdings company that's publicly traded, and they basically do turnarounds of restaurants. So he has a share in El Pollo Loco. He has a share in or shares in, what else? Obviously Jack in the Box, and his company is called Biglari Holdings. So this is just another key person to kind of try to keep your eye on and understand what's going on with him and what he thinks. I think he holds around right under 10% of the float, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it's just another player to kind of keep in mind. So the management, we have Lance Tucker as the CEO, we have Don Hooper as the CFO, and we have Caitlin Zaborski as the CMO. They all have done their time in the whole corporate world, but there's nothing really that stands out in any of them. None of them are really like turnaround type of employees or things like this. So the management doesn't really strike me as that convincing. I'm more so curious about the CMO and what her plans are. I haven't seen anything that really points to doubling down on UGC or like social media advertisement or a plan to fix the current brand identity or things like this. So I'm a bit iffy on the management, but in terms of the current stock price, it seems pretty asymmetric of a bet, right? Like I can't see Jack in the Box going lower, especially if they have plans and guidance to make an effort to fix what's been done. So that's kind of why I like this stock. I just feel like it's beaten down so much, and there's guidance and just proper vision in line for things to at least try to return to what it once was. Now the moat. So nearly 93% of all Jack in the Box locations are franchisee owned. So around 7% are corporate owned and 93% are franchisee owned, which gives Jack in the Box a lot more room and capability to launch stores, and just it's arguably more efficient having it like this. There's not as much corporate involvement in store operations and things like this when it's franchisee owned, but it's a bit subjective. Some people believe only corporate owned are much better models. Some people believe franchisee models are a lot better, so it's a bit subjective. Next is the late night niche. So kind of like what we were talking about earlier, Jack in the Box is really just that restaurant that you go to when nothing else is opened. So if you're trying to find food at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., Jack in the Box will always be there. There's really not another restaurant that does this like Jack in the Box does. So that's one thing that they basically are kind of like that late night go-to. Menu variety, they have basically every type of food that you can imagine: American food, Mexican food, milkshakes, matcha milkshakes. Like they just have kind of everything. So obviously the menu variety is a huge plus. And then needs cultural relevance. So if they can restore this, this will be a moat. But the cultural relevance is basically dead, and it can't get much more dead than what it already is. So that's kind of why I believe it's still an asymmetric bet. But if they can restore cultural relevance within Jack in the Box, not even just with the older demos, I'm saying like 25 and younger, and build brand rapport to a point where the younger demo finds it not cool but enjoys eating at Jack in the Box, or there's a reason why they love Jack in the Box, that will help substantially with the price. So this is just a quick video I made on Jack in the Box. Tell me what you guys think. Do you guys like Jack in the Box? Is there a different stock in the fast food category that I'm probably missing out on and I should look into that? Maybe Jack in the Box isn't the play, but let me know what you guys think, and jump in the Discord if you're not in it already. We just find stocks before they go viral, along with a free investing tool in there. So go ahead and check that out, and I hope you guys enjoyed.